My name is Johanna Grawunder. I'm an artist designer who coincidentally lives up here on Fitch Mountain. I was trained as an architect and I worked many years as an architect in Italy, in Milan, Italy for 20 years. And then in 2001 I moved back to the West Coast, and eventually 2016 came up here. We have family ties on Fitch Mountain and have been living on South Fitch Mountain Road since 2016. Fitch Mountain is near and dear to everyone's hearts in the area. It stands guard over Healdsburg. And so to put something up here is a very special and sensitive idea. My thought was, instead of creating one thing, was to use this opportunity to give a sense of community, to make it a destination. So my proposal actually took 4 key elements. One was the idea of nature. So we're up here. It's very important to consult the nature in the project. There's lots of chiaroscuro with the shadows and the sunlight and the beautiful trees and the incredible ferns that when a sun hits them have an effect of bioluminescence. So this was a major consideration, to put something that nature would not mind having as a human-caused intervention up here. The next aspect, which was very important, is the idea of culture. We have to acknowledge that we're on traditional territory of the Pomo Nation and the Wapo and Miwok, and past, present, and future, very strong community aspect. And so my proposal has some trying to be very respectful reference to that culture as well, and hopefully in collaboration with the Pomo Nation to incorporate some of this into the design. The next is the idea of tradition. You know, you go into a lot of wildlife parks and hikes, and sometimes you see a log that's been placed on 2 rocks, and it's functional art, sitting by a river or something like that. And maybe the first reaction is, oh, how did a bench get up here? There's a bench up here. And second reaction is usually, oh, a bench, and the pleasure and the delight of finding something like that in an unexpected place. And the fourth aspect is the idea of community. You know, Healdsburg's a friendly community. Everyone says hi to each other on the street. Every time you run into a hiker, there's greetings. And I think it's a nice idea to create a destination up here where it can accommodate more than 1 or 2 hikers, not a party scene. The pieces are laid out in a way where each piece has its own use, and that's designated by their names. For example, Overlook, or Sky View, or Mountain View, or Picnic, or one of them is called Love. And they're far enough apart where everyone can still have privacy, but at a certain point there will be a sense of community, people picking favorites. I like this one more than that one, and different uses. And we don't really know, you know, what people will do up here at all times, but this is a way to facilitate a destination, to use art as a way to facilitate the use of the nature up here. So this piece is called Mountain View. It's looking towards the northeast at the mountains, and this is before, and this is what's envisioned here. A kind of, I guess you could call it a chaise lounge. People can sit, or they can take a nap, or they can read a book, or listen to a podcast, or just view the mountain. Then as we go down the summit, and by the way, they're all placed around the summit and not on the summit. I felt like it was important to keep the summit for the trees and the roots that are there. So this is a double-tiered bench. So you have a footrest, or almost like little baby stadium seating that sits right there and overlooks the town. The third one is called Sky View, and that sits more or less here, maybe a little further back than what you see here. And you see in this, you can start to see this traditional territory reference, which is a weave from the traditional pomo baskets that we're going to try to incorporate into the pieces. So each piece has its own weave, which are these black infill pieces, and they will actually be infill, so they provide, in fact, the strong structure for the pieces. And as the wood of the slats becomes lighter and lighter with age, the cultural significance, the piece of the weave will actually come out stronger and stronger. Then as we go back around the summit, hi there. By the way, more and more people come up here, and it's really an amazing resource for Fitch Mountain and for the town of Healdsburg. When I first started hiking up here, it was very rare to see a lot of people up here, but now you almost always do, even on weekdays. So this one is called Love, and it has a sort of a love seat aspect. And you can look out towards the town, or you can look straight towards the summit and get some sun. So they're all the pieces are made in the same language with natural wood, which will fade with time. There's a little bit of color, green color on the backs of them, which you see in this piece, but really don't see much in the others. And that kind of will give a little bit of a glow, a bioluminescence glow, which is a bit of a shout out to the ferns. And then the final piece. The final piece is called Picnic, but it could be called anything. And it's, instead of over around the summit, it's a little bit off towards the overlook. And it provides a kind of a platform. And it's, if you're coming from the hilltop trail, it gives a piece where you can take a rest or have a picnic. So something, let me see if I can line it up with the trees there, kind of. Something like that, maybe set off a little bit more off the trail, but this is the idea. This piece in particular had a weave taken from a basket which signifies lightning, which is a power. I learned it's a symbol of power, so it's a positive aspect. So when you see them all together, this is kind of where we just were. We started here, went around here, here, the love seat, and then the picnic. We're here now. So basically, it's a little community, a destination that is right sized. It's not for big groups of people. The largest dimension, I think, is 7 feet. Most of them are more like 6 feet. So they're small enough where you can find them, but they're not going to be distracting. They're kind of tucked away, and it should be a nice experience. We're calling the Fitch experience. So thank you very much.